Welcome back to Matchday Live, half-time at the Etihad Stadium, and it's Manchester City 2, Brighton 0. 2 goals for Haaland and 600 Premier League goals under Pep Guardiola. The records keep on tumbling. Here to tuck into all of that, I mean, what a lineup I've got next to me here in the form of Steve Howey, Andy Morrison and Joleon Lescott. Joleon, I'll begin with you. At times, maybe not our free-flowing best, but still 2 goals to the good, and that man again.
That's exactly that. It doesn't have to be when you've got someone in there that can just score goals, and obviously one's a pen, and it's for me the right decision. But that first goal is all of his own making. Like, he's the only one in the team that could probably score that goal. So in regards to that, it just gives us a different outlet. That probably wasn't possible for the last couple of seasons because we haven't had someone plays on the shoulder, able to run past players like that and just bulldoze over defenders, and he's able to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're going to look at all the key moments of that first half. But Andy, I wondered, at times before obviously the assist from Ederson, though, we struggled to kind of get the ball out of our half. Usually we kind of see that. What is it that Brighton are doing that seem to stop us from doing what we're doing?
It's risk and reward, Cal. They've gone 3v3 at the back, and the 3v3 actually Webster is far left, which opens up huge gaps and leaves Dunk just in a one-on-one situation, and I bet that allows them to get a press on. And Southampton done it well, but Southampton did it with the left-sided centre-half stepped into De Bruyne, or on the other side, the left-sided centre-half marked Haaland, and the right-sided centre-half stepped into midfield. So that's how they did it. They're doing it slightly different, and it's very, very brave. But you're going to get caught out in them one-on-one situations. The ball in behind, naturally in a back four, that one of the centre-halves will go in there with him, the other one will be playing off him. But Webster, because he's so wide, has to affect Mahrez. First touch on the ball from Ederson, it's game over when the ball, and you look at his movement at the start of it, Haaland steps him in and then does him in behind, and Webster can't get across. And when he's coming across, he's off balance, and he gets. And it's down to the system. The pros of it are you'll get a massive press on City and stop their patterns early on. But the downside is that, you'll get left yourself wide open.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's look at the key moments then. So, Alistair Mann, who's got commentary over on the City app with Sean Goat, mentioned about potentially 3 penalty shouts. Now, there was a De Bruyne one which was saying was no penalty. There was the one earlier on, though, and Steve, we had a chance to privy to kind of see it here. Was that potentially a stronger penalty shout claim before the one that was given?
Yeah, I mean, we were discussing it. We looked at the replay. The goalkeeper's gone in with his leg. It looks as though his studs actually catches the inside of Erling's inside of his leg next to his ankle. You can see the player himself, Erling Haaland, has actually got his arm around Craig Pawson and sort of saying, listen, he did catch me. Initially, from like certain angles, it looks as though he doesn't, but there is one angle, there's definite contact there. So I'm not surprised that the player's gone down. We had a discussion. Do VAR look at it and go, well, yes, he's took the touch, but he's ran it out of play?
Yes.
But for me, it's still contact in the box.
Yes.
So it still should have, as far as I'm concerned, I think we agree. Certainly me and Andy, when we were talking about it, that we thought it was a penalty.
So that one wasn't given, Joleon, and then we got to the one that was. I mean, it took them a while. I mean, if we talk about the incident, it was on Bernardo Silva, and you could see he kept going to the ref, and we were waiting and waiting, and we obviously deemed it a penalty.
Yeah, again, it gives the ref an opportunity to have another look, and for me, the right decision was made. It was a penalty. He slightly lost control, but I think it was due to the force of the tackle from behind. It kind of hit him in the thigh, and his leg was extended, and then it allowed him or his leg and Dunk's leg to make contact. And because it was the training leg of Dunk, I think that means it's a pen.
Yeah.
He wasn't getting the ball was past him. So the fact that Bernardo's not in control, Dunk isn't in control either. So yeah, the last person to touch it was a Man City player.
Riyad Mahrez on the pitch, but Erling Haaland takes the penalty. Do you think is that because of for him to carry on with his goal scoring, or do you think he?
No, I think it was because it was the last one he probably missed. Yeah. I think if well, I know that if he hadn't missed the last one and he's on the pitch, Riyad takes the pens.
Yes.
But the fact that he missed the last one. Strikers want goals, and so they're going to be rotation now, and I'm sure the same would be for Haaland. If he misses, then it will go to someone else, and someone else that wants to take him, because up until now we probably haven't had a recognised penalty taker in the team that wants to take them all. Like Haaland's going to want to take all the pens, where it's kind of been Riyad or it's kind of been Kevin, and kind of rotated a little bit, where I don't think that's the case anymore.
No. Let's talk about then the goal, of course, and I mean, we know what we're doing on this show because we were speaking about Ederson and his distribution, and and that's where the game called from, and it came from. Andy, talk us.
Yeah, there was a moment before that where the manager was speaking to the players, and he had them across, and he's obviously seen the press and the way they're playing. And Edison will be the extra player that their goalkeeper can't come out and stop him. So there's got to be a way to overload somehow. And just before that, there was a moment where there was a mistake made in Edison in possession. They missed that. Then the next phase is the space is in behind. Can you step in? Can you hit it? Have you got the quality to do it? And we spoke about it before the game. Actually, his range of passing, and it is precise. The movement's got to be great, and the timing's got to be meticulous. But yeah, what a wonderful ball.
Wonderful ball, and gosh, I mean, the centre-half bounced off him, and we were speaking about how big Brighton's defenders are. I mean, it's a frightening show of strength, but then it's his speed and everything else.
It is. I mean, he's obviously got that movement, and then he nicks in front of the goalkeeper. Now, if you're a Brighton player, or if you're a Brighton fan, or if you're a Brighton manager, you might possibly sort of say it's a foul. But I think deep down, the manager and his teammates will be sort of saying to him, you've got to be stronger.
Yeah.
Yes, he's going to come in and give you the shoulder. You've got to give him a back, or even go to give him the shoulder and move out, let him go, and then try and nick it. But you cannot let him do that to you, because it's made him look pretty silly, really. I mean, he's a big unit, and he's just brushed him to one side. As I said, the lads will be in the dressing room and they'll be like, mate, come on, man.
You've got to do better there. Yeah, absolutely. Now that goal now puts him 6 away, Joleon, from equaling the total that won the Golden Boot.
Try not to laugh and be serious, but that is childish. It's childish, that.
What happens now that we've got him on pens as well?
Yeah, I mean, it's just it's just silly, and you can honestly see him scoring a hat-trick every month.
Yeah.
Every month of the season, when there's 2 or 3 home games, you're thinking he's going to get a hat-trick.
Yes.
And that is just...
I mean, if he scores again in the second half, that's his 4th for City already. 4th hat-trick.
Yeah.
Before the start of the season, I was texting his dad, and I just sort of said, listen, I think your boy will tear this place up. And I really thought that. But if I'm being brutally honest...
You didn't see this?
I didn't see this. This is... He's playing with...
Yeah.
He's playing with people here.
Yeah.
I don't think it's fair.
I don't think he thought this... There's no way he thought he was going to come and do what he's actually doing. I know he thought he was going to come and score goals, because we all thought that. But how he's just manhandling the league, I don't believe either there's... This generation of defenders are used to this either.
No, absolutely not.
What do you mean by that?
Someone that's capable of
Old school,
variety,
really.
goal scoring.
Yeah.
Say for our era, say talking from my perspective, it was we had Drogba, then you had Anelka, then you had Heskey, then you had Rooney. So there was a variety of strikers that you would come up against, and you would have to manufacture your game on their game. Even within game, if Drogba was coming off, Anelka was coming on, or Rooney was coming off, Zaha was coming on. So that isn't the case now. It's false nines and teams similar want to drop in the hole and get involved in the play, where now someone's like that, he's just bulldozing. Because
centre halves as well. Centre halves are used to forwards not wanting the battle.
Yeah.
They don't want a physical fight. He'll have it all day.
Yeah.
You see him off the ball when the ball's getting played down the wing, and his centre half's next to him. He's grabbing the centre half. He's pulling him back. He's doing everything that he can to get in front of that defender. Defenders are thinking, this is not the way it's supposed to happen, because they're not being used to it.
I think so. I can't remember who was on the show was saying that they know almost centre halves must be texting each other and going, "You played against him. Do you have any tips?" Do you know what I mean? And I don't know what those tips would be.
It's crazy, because if you compare it to say Harry Kane, great goal scorer, but he's not able to do that. He's not able to run over from a through ball, bulldoze over defenders and put it into empty nets, running past keepers. So I think that's the type of striker that defenders are used to. He's ones that you can't really impact because he's in the right position at the right time, where Haaland's nah, I'm just whatever chance comes, I'm going to take.
Yeah, absolutely. You can drop his dad a text if you want after this, because he's 1 away from matching his dad's record at City.
I mean, he didn't score many,
if he scores in the second half, he will have matched it. Just before we take a look at the second half and a little focus quickly on Brighton, on this day today we'll be celebrating a very special birthday of a City hero in the form of Bert Trautmann, who of course infamous here at Manchester City, in particular as well, of course, for playing on with a broken neck. I think we can see that. I mean, I mean, I actually, when I hear that, I don't quite get I can't get that he played on with a broken neck.
I don't think there was a doctor back in them days telling the manager you got to take him off.
No subs.
The concussion rule wasn't about them, was it?
I mean, I don't know how he gets to, and he just cold sponges. Man, it would have been Magic Sponge back then.
Yeah.
Wiping the grass out. Yeah.
How does it feel? It's sore. Yeah, you'll be all right. Crack on.
Fine.
I mean that's an incredible team, but he's also got an incredible story as well. I know there's been a film about him in the last few years as well, which is well worth a watch. So just a little moment there to celebrate and remember Bert Trautmann. Andy, Brighton, you know, they've threatened at times. Have been when it's clicked for them, they have looked like they've threatened, as we know as well, because some of the stats in the previous games, lots of shots unlucky. What do you think they'll be saying to try and coming into the second half?
Cal, it's so difficult, and I'll tell you why. So all week they've planned, and they've got a plan for coming into this game and say, this is how we're going to go. Are we going to sit in West Ham, as we've seen in the past, Burnley when they came, or are we going to have a go? So the players will probably say, we want to have a go, we want to be brave.
Yeah.
But that's going to leave us 3-on-3 at the back. If we sit in and go deep against City and invite them onto us, and we go to a deep 5-4-1 block, they're just going to pick us on. We're never going to get out. So the dilemma the managers have every time they come here, and they've got to try and get to that half an hour at 0-0. Once we score the first one, if we get the second, they're in all sorts of trouble. And for me, once it gets to 2, with the way City play and the relentless nature, especially coming from the manager, he will not let up.
Yes.
And the mentality of the players to keep the shirt as well. Famous last words, but it will be 3-4-1. And if they get the goal, I went for 4-1.
You did.
But ultimately, it's so difficult 2-0 down against us, because that's the cuffs off them. The players will go in interest themselves even more.
Yes.
And then you just see the emotional energy from the opposition. It dies away. They just die and they're dead. They're on their feet. And then those last 10-15 minutes, the amount of goals that we get at home in them last sort of 10 minutes when the teams are emotionally just give up.
Yes.
You know,
it's no coincidence.
It's so hard. No, it's so difficult.
Just on one thing on the first half, I think if there's one player, and I know we spoke about him before the game, if there's one player that's just not quite at it, for me it's Akanji. He's not going tight as quick as what he could. You see a couple of times he's kind of Mirandering up or maraudering up or just jogging up, whichever way you want to put it, but it's not sharp, shutting them down. And when you've got good players, like all these players in Brighton players, every player in the Premier League, you give them a few yards, they're going to hurt you.
Yes.
You know, so if you're not at it, so I would imagine Pep will be sort of saying, listen, you're going to have to pull your socks up a little bit, because he does seem a little bit lethargic.
Bit off it, yeah, absolutely. Well, gents, an absolute pleasure as always. Thank you so much. We're going to be back at full time. The lads are there in the mezzanine about to come out. The referees as well, almost ready. So we're going to hand back over to Alistair Mann and Sean Gota, who've got commentary over on the City app, and come join us again at full time. Half time here at the Etihad. Manchester City 2, Brighton 0. Will it be a fourth hat trick for Haaland? We're about to find out.
Thank you, Kel. Welcome back to the Etihad Stadium. For those of you that like your statistics, City's 600th Premier League goal under Pep Guardiola, scored by Erling Haaland. They got 80 in 2016-17 in his first season, 106, 95, 102.